Hi, everyone. So excited you all are here. My name is Vienna Lee, and I'm currently a junior at Palo Alto High School. Before I start, I just want to remind you all that if you are a member, you will receive 50 points for attending today's session and 10 points per question you ask. If you aren't a member, no worries, and would like to learn more, please feel free to check out our membership at track.app. So, today I will be introducing more about my Dine and Write Like a Food Critic learning path. I will go through some topics from the learning path, and later today we will be playing a Kahoot, so make sure to have another device such as a tablet or phone at the ready. And finally, we will wrap it up with a Q&A at the end. If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat at any time, and I will answer them at the Q&A section. So let's get started. Why did I create this learning path? I created this learning path because I love food and I love writing about food. Before the pandemic, my family used to eat out at newly opened restaurants or just popular restaurants to try out the food, and we would always talk to each other about whether we liked the food or not. I also love learning how to cook, and I'm currently enrolled in our school's culinary arts class, which I love, and watching my mom cook. Additionally, in my sophomore year of high school, I took a beginning journalism class, and one of our very first assignments was learning how to write food reviews, and that was my favorite assignment because I can combine two of my favorite things, eating and writing. This learning path will explore our sensory system, why we like certain foods, ways to describe food, and how to write a food review, even when you are quarantining at home. If you enjoy these topics and would like to pursue a career in the future, a possible option is becoming a food writer for newspapers and magazines, and or a food scientist if you enjoy the scientific properties of foods. So let's get started. When we think about our senses, we typically think of our five senses, which are touch, taste, sight, hearing, and smell. But we actually have additional senses that might not be as obvious to us. In my learning path, you will be introduced to our sensory system and senses beyond the typical five. But today, I will be talking about one of them. We have an additional sense called proprioception. Proprioception is the body's ability to sense its location, movements, and actions. It's how we can type without looking at our keyboard. Let me give you an example. Right now, I am closing my eyes and putting my finger in front of my face. I know that my finger is right now aligned in the middle of my face. Now I know it's to the right, and now I know it's to the left. Proprioception allows me to know where my finger is located without me using my eyes to see directly where it is. There are also some other senses that you might notice in your daily life, and you can explore more about them in my learning path. Our senses actually play a big role in how we perceive food as well, because our senses send signals to our brain. Our senses are important in allowing us to comprehend food as well. We use our sight, smell, taste, and touch to help us understand more about what we are eating. So, this raises the question, why do we like certain foods and not others? It comes down to our sense of taste. When it comes to our sense of taste, there are people who experience taste with a greater intensity. These people are actually called supertasters, and a supertaster is a person who tastes certain flavors and foods more strongly than others, specifically to bitter foods, such as bitter melon, coffee, and dark chocolate. So they try to avoid these foods. Now let's talk about textures. We connect our sense of touch to texture, as our sense of touch allows us to feel sensations caused by the external surfaces of objects. Texture or mouthfeel is how food feels in our mouths as we eat it. Textures can have a number of effects on the taste. We compare crispier food with fattier or saltier foods, which we are naturally built to want to eat. This is why soggy or mushy food is not as attractive to many people. So think about this. You might be comparing potato chips to soggy bread. Personally, I think I would prefer potato chips. So let's try to describe textures of foods. Let's look at the image on the far left, which is of a pancake. We can actually describe this image. How can we describe this image? So, fun fact, these are actually one of my favorite breakfast foods of all times. The image is of a cloud pancake, and we can tell that it's a lot fluffier and airier than a typical pancake. The secret to creating the fluffiness is through its technique. Egg yolks and egg whites are separated, and the egg whites are beaten until stiff peaks form and then are folded gently and carefully into the batter. And these souffle pancakes are super fluffy because of the air bubbles that hold their shape inside the batter. It's important to research more about how your dish is created so you can accurately introduce more about the food you tried. We can describe its appearance by saying it has powdered sugar, cream on the side, and a yellow half-dome shaped decoration on top. Let's look at the image in the middle of a pizza now. We can say that the pizza looks to be cheesy and the tomato sauce is splattered evenly around with the cheese. We can say the pizza is a cheese pizza because there are no other toppings besides the cheese and tomato sauce. Finally, let's look at the image on the far right of an iced latte. We can describe the drink as cool and refreshing because of the existence of the ice. And there is a distinct chocolatey brown color from the coffee and the white color from the milk, which creates an ombre. We also describe drinks differently than food by their consistency. So you can say a drink is thin or watery, all the way to thick and creamy. Finally, let me introduce you to how to write a food review. This can be adjusted to eating out at a restaurant, eating takeout food from a restaurant in your own home, or just eating a homemade meal. First, you start off your review by setting the stage and sharing some context, either about the restaurant, such as its location, or introducing who created your homemade meal, such as the story of someone who became a chef and or where their cooking influences came from. You want to start off by letting people know immediately that the review contains useful information and is worth reading. This is the part where you captivate your audience and get them to come back for more. For example, you can say, a basic bowl of fried rice cooked with love and 30 years of experience brings more to the table than one can see. My mom has been cooking for many years, and she brings her memories of her childhood dinners to my table, and tonight she created one of the most simple but loved dishes in Chinese culture. Secondly, start delivering your experience by describing all the food you tried in chronological order. Writing your review based on how the time unfolds can help organize your writing so the reader can easily follow along with your experience. If a dish was so-called great, be sure to describe why it was great. What were its flavors, textures, and appearance like? Short and sweet is the key to writing a strong review. Getting all your details and descriptions into a few sentences per paragraph instead of clumping them into a huge paragraph is effective. And finally, wrap up your takeaway by giving reason for why someone should go or not go to a restaurant or try out the chef's cooking. Okay, so now I have a question for you all. Please type your answer in the chat, and I will feature my favorite response at the end. The question is, what is your favorite dish, dessert, or drink you have ever tasted, and why? I will give you all up to 2 minutes to submit your responses now. What do you think? Feel free to continue writing, and for your reference, here is my response to this answer. So my favorite drink is a sweetened iced latte. Every iced latte has its unique sour, sweet, or bitter taste that comes from its different coffee beans. It's always a fun surprise to try lattes from different shops. As for my favorite dish, I enjoy the Santa Fe styled salad. I love salad because it is refreshing and healthy, and especially the Santa Fe style because they have the perfect grilled chicken, with toasted tortilla chips, roasted corn, and topped with a sweet dressing. It combines different flavors and textures, and when you eat it, you feel energized. Okay, so while you're writing your responses, we are now going to transition to our Kahoot game. Please feel free to visit the website kahoot.it and enter the code in. If you're not done writing your response, that is okay. Please feel free to continue. And the code is 9879086. Okay, we do have one person in. We have Carl the cat, we have Derek, we have #Nightlock. This is getting very interesting. Okay, so I'll repeat the PIN again. It is 9879086. Okay, so we're gonna get started in 3, 2, 1. Okay, the first question is, what are your basic senses? So there's only one correct response. So there are 4 choices. One is taste, one is hearing, smell, and the 4th one is all of the above and sight and touch. Wow, that was quick. Okay, great job, everyone. Everyone got this one right. I'm also hoping that the picture I gave out helped you as well. So the correct answer is all of the above and sight and touch, because we have 5 basic senses: sight, touch, taste, smell, and hearing. Okay, so let's check out our leaderboard. Wow, in first place we have VM with 949 points. Good job. In second place we have Nightlock, and we have Ray, Derek, and Carl the cat. Okay, great job, everyone. Okay, the second question is, what is a sense that is beyond the basic senses? So we have metacarpus, proprioception, photosynthesis, and none of the above. This one might be a little bit tricky. Okay, great job, everyone. Good tries as well. So this one is a little bit tricky. We actually have 4 choices: metacarpus, proprioception, photosynthesis, and all of the above. And so I think I talked about this a little earlier, but the correct answer is proprioception, which is where I use my finger placement. Proprioception is the sense of knowing which parts of our body are where without looking. So the other terms are actually some cool science terms I picked up in my free time. Metacarpus is a group of 5 bones of your hand between the wrist and the fingers, and photosynthesis is the process through which plants use water and carbon dioxide to create their own food. But yeah, good job, everyone. Good tries. Okay, we see some people have climbed up in the leaderboard. Congrats, Nightlock is currently first place, then Derek, Sally, VM, and Ray. Great job. Okay, third question is, why are your senses important? What do they help you with? So there are 3 choices, and there's 1 correct response. They protect us, they are essential to our enjoyment of many experiences in life, and both of them are correct. Okay, great job. Okay, the answer is actually both responses are correct. So, our senses actually protect us by warning of dangers in our surroundings. Information gathered by our senses is sent along to the nerves in our brain, and then the brain then sends messages to our body to tell us how to respond. And they're also essential for enjoyment of many experiences in life. For example, when you're at a concert, our sense of hearing allows us to hear the music and want to groove along to our favorite songs, and our sight helps us to see the performance and the stage sets that the artist has created for us to watch. Okay, wow. Nightlock is really up there with a highest answer streak of 3. And then Derek is next, VM, Ray, and Carl the Cat. Great job, everyone. Okay, the fourth question is, what is a supertaster? We have 3 options: a person who can taste every detail for all types of food, a person who's famous for tasting food, and a person who tastes certain flavors and foods more strongly than others. Okay, great job, everyone. This one was definitely a bit challenging. I talked about this a little earlier, but a super taster is a person who tastes certain flavors and foods more strongly than others, and they are particularly sensitive to bitter flavors in foods, such as coffee and dark chocolate. And actually, fun fact, you can actually test to see if you are a super taster by applying blue food coloring to the tip of your tongue, and you will see like big pink bumps that are called papillae that stick out from the food dye. And if you actually put a wax paper ring in that area that has been dyed and count the number of bumps within that hole, you can tell that you're a super taster if you have more than 35 of those bumps. And if you have 15 to 35, you're typically an average taster, which is pretty cool. Wow, great job, Derek. Currently, he has the highest answer streak of 4, and he's first. And then we have Nightlock, VM, Ray, and Sally. Great job, everyone. Okay, question 5. Using just your vision, what does the drink look like? So we have cold and iced, brownish and white, unmixed. All of them are correct. So how can we visually describe its appearance? Okay, great job. Yeah, so this one might be a little bit tricky, but it's actually all of the answers. We can see that this drink has ice in it, so we can say it's a cold and iced drink. And we can also describe its color, which is brownish from the coffee and white from the milk. And we can also say it is unmixed, which is seen from the separation of the coffee and milk. So yeah, that's why all of them are correct. Wow, great job, Derek, again. He has a highest answer streak of 5, and then right behind him is Nightlock, VM, Ray, and Sally. Great job, you guys. Keep it up. Okay, question number 6. Why do we like to eat certain foods and not others? So we have 3 options: genetic influences, other senses we have that might make us taste certain foods more sensitively, and both are correct. Yeah, so actually, really interesting is both are correct. I would say that genetic influences and other senses is pretty similar. They are called super tasters, so that's a genetically can be influenced. Yeah. Okay, now Ray has a streak of 4 correct answers in a row. Derek's still first place. Yeah, great job, everyone. Okay, question 7. Constructive criticism, if applicable, is important in a food review. True or false? Okay, yes, this answer is actually true. When you write a food review, it is important to be honest. If you didn't like the food, it's okay to say you didn't like it and some ways you think that it can improve. Being fair is important in creating a credible review. So great job. Okay, wow, the leaderboard has changed a lot, but Ray has the highest answer streak of 5, then Nightlog, then VM, then Derek, and then Carl the cat. Okay, true and false again. Taste and flavor are the same thing. This is actually pretty tricky. I actually had to look into this a little bit more. Yeah, so actually, interestingly enough, the answer is false. This is actually pretty tricky. The taste and flavor are actually different things, although people tend to use it to mean the same thing. Our overall impression of a food or beverage is called flavor. Our sense of taste comes from the tongue, and the 5 well recognized tastes are sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and umami. But beyond these basic tastes, the sensations we think of as being flavor. So things like mint, banana, or cheese. Okay. Wow. Okay, Ray still has the highest answer streak of 6. Great job. And then VM, Knight, Derek, and Sally. Great job, everyone. Okay, final question. When writing a food review, it should be written in chronological order. You got this, everyone. It's the final one. Okay, this question is actually true because using chronological order is to explain a process and how the events unfold. And so, explaining a process using chronological order can actually help people get less confused when they're reading your writing. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, in third place, we have hashtag Nightlock. Great job. Then we have VM. And in first place, we have Ray! Great job, Ray. Great job, everyone, as well. And then our runners-up are Derek and Carl the cat. Thank you so much for participating in the Kahoot. So now we will move on to our Ask Me Anything section. Feel free to type your questions into the chat. And just a reminder, you will receive 10 points per question that you ask. Okay, so I'm going to go back and answer some of the questions that might have been there earlier. Okay, so Sally asks, what is your favorite food? Wow, this is really, really hard, but I talked about it a little bit earlier maybe. I would say my favorite dish is definitely a Santa Fe style salad. It's refreshing and healthy, and I also really like Mexican food, so it has grilled chicken and tortilla and beans and all that good stuff. So definitely one of my favorites. What else? Other questions you have? Vian asks, what is your favorite dessert? Wow. Yeah, this is really hard for me. I actually really, really love sweets. But I would say a good tiramisu from time to time is really nice. And yeah, and also like chocolate cake. I'm really into chocolate cake. Anything chocolate cake or like a chocolate cupcake, that's also really great. Yeah, great questions. Okay, Derek DeMooses asked, what is your favorite drink? Wow, great question. So yeah, I really, really enjoy coffee. So my favorite drink is probably like a sweetened iced latte or an iced vanilla latte. It's just super diverse. There's so many different kinds of like lattes you could like try, and every store has different unique flavors, and so it's like a surprise. Also like helps me be awake for school. So yeah. Rayhan asked, "Do you like coffee?" Yes, Rayhan, I love coffee. It's definitely like one of my favorite things. I could totally go on a rant, but definitely my favorite things ever. Couldn't live without it. um, yeah. Any more questions? Yeah. Okay. Do I cook? To be honest, I actually since I took culinary arts this year, I just started to learn really how to cook and like working in the kitchen. So I'd say like I know like basic skills. Like I recently made a crepe, kind of failed, but I had a lot of fun because cooking is like a learning process, and you can always pick it up anytime, and if you don't do well, you can just learn more. So yeah. Vian asks, how often does a food critic go to restaurants? Good question. I'm not sure there's like a certain like amount of times they go, but when they find interest in a restaurant, or maybe it's like a newly opened restaurant, people want to know more about it, they'll go and just like try out the foods, let people know. There's actually a lot of food critics on Yelp. Yelp is like a little bit maybe more casual, but you could definitely check anything out. But as for like professionals, I would say like probably they have their own schedule. But yeah. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to pick my favorite response. Oh, there's so many great responses. Um, I would say my favorite response is from, wow, these are also great. Um, Derek DeMoose says, my favorite food is chashu bao because I love dim sum and it is crunchy and soft at the same time. What a great response. That is definitely one of my favorite responses. I think dim sum is definitely something that not many people know about, but it's also super interesting how, even though things are steamed, they can bring out that flavor. And I really love your description of it being crunchy and soft. So, yeah. Okay. Last but not least, make sure to check out James's live event tomorrow at 4 p.m. based on his How to Grow a One-Ton Pumpkin learning path. I've actually looked into his learning path and I had so much fun understanding more about the science behind growing a pumpkin. If you would like to learn more about my other learning paths along with this one, please click the link in the description to check it out. Just a reminder, you'll be receiving 50 XP points for attending today's session and 10 XP points per question that you ask. So thank you so much for coming. Bye, guys.